Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Natsu Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about This Monster Wants to Eat Me, Season 1, Episode 2. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So we're immediately picking up where Episode 1 left off with Shiori's introduction to the class, and Hinako can't figure her out because she's like, well, I know you're not human, and after everything went down yesterday, and we're just going to pretend like nothing did, and you're just introducing yourself, being like, oh, I hope we get to be good. And the timing, I know brought it up last episode too. I'm like, oh, the funny thing is that Shiori would show up the same day that Miko won't be there. In fact, she ends up being in Miko's seat because it's like, oh yeah, take a seat that, there's a student in his absence, so take their seat. And so, you have Hinako trying to like wrap her head around all this stuff, like, well, what happened definitely happened, so why are you a yokai, like, just, like, chilling and coming to school and trying to live like a normal human? You said you were going to eat me and everything, so now they're eating lunch together and stuff, but, Shiori doesn't have any food because she's like, I didn't bring anything. And Hinako has a meal, but it's only not because she wants to eat it necessarily. She has to out of necessity because Miko gets on her case about having like a healthy, balanced diet. So like Miko is the one that kind of keeps her going. I mean, as we can tell, Hinako is very self-destructive. So for her, it's like she doesn't have much of an appetite because she wants to wither away and die. Because I don't remember, it's obviously been a couple weeks since I saw episode 1, so I don't remember if she, like, I don't remember if I talked about it, but obviously she doesn't want to kill herself because she can't, that's kind of a complicated phrase because it's like, she does want to die, but she can't do it by her own hands. She can let whatever comes her way do its thing. That's what she's hoping for with Shiori and stuff like that. But she won't like take her own life of her own hands because I don't know if she feels like that would be letting something like just happen and end up killing her. That's one thing because it's like, hey, it happened. I had no direct involvement in it because I think she feels like if she has direct involvement in it, then it feels like a slight against her family who are gone. It'd kind of be dishonoring them. I mean, I feel like that's probably the tug and pull. And she's probably also fearful, even though there's a part of her that has wanted to die ever since her family died, for her to not be able to do anything herself. I'm not saying like, oh my God, she should just do it. I hope that it's not coming off that way. It's just that she wants to die so much, but the fact that she can't bring herself to do it, I'm sure there's a multitude of reasons. Like I said, I think fear, but also feeling like she's slighting her parents. Because like I said, it's like, her parents died in an accident. Well, not just parents, sorry. Her family, because she had a brother too. They all died in an accident. So it's almost like letting the world ultimately decide what happens to you. But she also, like I said, doesn't care about herself. So if it wasn't for Miko, she probably wouldn't eat. She just probably let herself wither away. But there's that, the body does have its self-preservation things. That even if you were to try and like, It's an effed up thing to say, but it fits the motif of the show revolving around water and drowning and stuff like that. But like if you're in the water, even if you like to try and like purposely let yourself drown, your body would fight. Like it just instinctually, your body exists. Like you have it in you to instinctually like, survive, self-preservation. So we haven't really gotten at this so far in the show, but I could definitely see eventually that probably be a situation where she's in a place where she could die, but unbeknownst to her, she thinks she's so ready to die, but then like self-preservation will kick in and showcase like you're not as ready and willing to die as you thought you were. And I think that's probably going to be the progression of this story too, of like you start off with that intent, and as life goes on, as things change, as events happen, you become less and less likely, which is kind of counterproductive considering Shiori is like, very much like the Hansel and Gretel story of like, I'm gonna fatten you up and then I'm gonna eat you. It's kind of that, mentality. But, because Shiori makes it clear, like, oh, I kind of have no interest in eating food because the only thing I'm interested in eating is you. And Shiori's kind of like, okay, she did make that declaration, but it's like, does she actually mean it? And she's trying to understand, it's like, well, if you're going to eat me, why are you waiting? And she's like, well, and she made the comparison to like, it's like, okay, so take the pig and the cow that went into some of the food you made. It's like, what happens? Farmers put there and take care of them and basically kill them at a certain time. It's like, put up fences and this and that to protect them. And she's like, I'm not getting it. It's like, basically, I want to fatten you up. I want you to live life. I want you to be good and healthy so that when the time perfect, I want the perfect time for you to be the most delicious when I eat you. And I don't know if that was in my mindset on why she would wait, and it almost seems to be like the consensus is going to be like, I've seen, there's a few shows where that's kind of come up where it's like, I forgot, there was a particular story and I can't remember what it was. Oh, it might have been like an episode of, I believe it was an episode of, oh God. Oh yeah, it's definitely, I'm sorry, Hotel Inhuman. There was basically a hitman that basically wanted to kill a woman when she was hired to kill her when she was at her happiest. It's kind of that same thing of like, I want everything in life I want you to be good. I want you to be healthy. I want everything to go right so that when the time comes, I can eat you because you will be at your happiest. You'll be at your healthiest. That's when I will gobble you up type of situation. So she also, and I think I talked about this in episode 1 as well, she did say like she was looking for Hinako. So I was wondering if there's any correlation or connection with what happened to accident that killed her parents. Like maybe Shiori was there all those years ago and now she's here, now feels like all this time left. You've kind of, been worn down by this situation. Because she even talks about it later that Hinako has a certain smell to her. Because she even says like, because she brings up the whole thing about, I'll talk about Miko in a second, but like how Miko doesn't seem tasty, but Hinako does, because for Shiori it's like every yokai have their different favorite meals. Some prefer young men, some prefer infants, some prefer virgins, this or that. And it's like hers just happens to be Hinako. But she brings up like Hinako has a certain smell to her, something that only yokai can smell, but something about her would be driving any yokai crazy. She's kind of like, what's the blood type? Was it she's basically the O negative type of blood for yokai monsters. Favorite meal. So everyone would, and that's kind of also the point where Shiori is like, I'm here to protect you because you smell so delicious, and every yokai under the sun that's in this area, who knows if they'll come far and wide for it or whatever, but any yokai that's near you is going to smell you, and they will put aside what they normally eat just to get you because you're such a rare delicacy. So yeah, that's such an interesting development and thought process, but how Hinako's trying to manage and deal with that. She leaves her food behind. She like, the moment they're having that conversation and Shiori's trying to like fatten her up, it's like, oh, taste this food. And she walks away and she just goes, looks out at the sea, and she's like, she could have just let me die yesterday with that whole yokai attack. But then she's like, at the very least, I have a guarantee she is going to eat me. So it's almost like, okay, I'll play into what she wants. She wants to, make me healthy and stuff like that. Fine, I'll go with whatever she wants because I can trust the fact that she will eat me. So after all this time, I'll finally get my wish. She'll be the one that'll be able to grant it. So that's Hinako's perspective on it. And, even Shiori talks about it later on, like, why aren't you afraid? I'm telling you all this stuff and you seem unafraid. And I think Hinako is afraid to tell Shiori the truth, because even when she like accidentally is like, oh yeah, like she brings up how Miko treats her the same, unlike other people, like everyone kind of walks on eggshells around her because of that accident, and she like stops herself. Shiori was like, oh, like, you were about to say something like, why are you so gun-ho and okay with me, like, eating you and stuff like that? Like, why do you feel so okay with that? And she's like, because you promised you'd protect me, like, from other yokai. And he's like, yes, of course, I did make that promise. I would protect you no matter what, because I'm going to be the one to eat you. And she's scared to tell Shiori the truth, because I think she's afraid that if Shiori knows that she has a death wish, that maybe Shiori won't, like, might just do the opposite. It's like, oh, I'm not going to eat you because you want to die. And maybe that correlates and has something to do with that smell of death around her that maybe is attracting yokai, or maybe that smell stems from something else. But Shiori definitely knows. She doesn't know the story, or maybe she does, and she's just not letting on what she knows. Like I said, the fact that she came up was like, oh, I've been looking for you. I mean, there's something there. But Shiori gave her that look like she knows there's more, that basically Hinako was bullshitting when she was like, oh yeah, like the thing I was stressed about and worried about is that you said you protect me. That's why I'm not so afraid of dying, you know? Even though it's like, yeah, she just wants to die, so that's her why she lacks fear in death. But circling back, Miko comes to school obviously like the next day, and she's super happy, like, oh, Hinako. And then she finds Shiori in Hinako's seat, because the teacher even said like the next day he was going to move seats around. So now Shiori is in Hinako's seat, and now Hinako is in what used to be Miko's seat. So all that happened is like they just switched seats from where they were sitting yesterday. And where's Miko's on the other side of the classroom, kind of dead center at the front of the class, because the teacher has to get on them about like Miko doesn't pay attention because anytime she's around Hinako, so she has no one to blame but herself now that they're separated from each other. But obviously she's immediately kind of like, who is this Shiori person? And the moment Shiori touches Hinako's shoulder, she kind of pulls her away, and now they have like this back pull, the back and forth. What was that story? I have to look it up. That story about like the king who the two, wasn't it like two mothers fighting over a child? It was King Solomon specifically. The story, it's called, I think, Judgment of Solomon. But it almost feels like that. Like she's the child kind of torn between two mothers in a way. But I think I might have talked about this in episode 1 because of the opening and stuff. It definitely gives a vibe of like Miko's kind of the angel on her shoulder, and Shiori's kind of the devil on her shoulder. Once again, there's the person who wants her to live, Miko. There's also the person who wants her to live also in Shiori, but wants to eat her. So, but like I said, I get the inkling like there's definitely more to Miko just because of the whole like rosary beads that are like on her wrists and stuff. I'm like, and also like the whole thing of like how she's constantly missing school all the time, and she'll miss school, and it definitely seems like there's something up there, and I'm just like so interested to find out what that is. There's something suspicious about her, but yeah, like these two different people want similar yet different things from Hinako, which is so interesting because it's like, right, Miko is her best friend. It's the only person she really continuously talks to. It's probably the only person really that stays in her corner and is there for her. But it's like she's almost choosing Shiori, the person who's going to give her death. So it's almost like it's, without Miko worry. And I think that's also a little bit of the guilt she has, where it's like she knows like she never wants to do anything that would hurt Miko, but she knows like if I just suddenly disappear, like it would devastate you because I mean a lot to you, but it's also like I can't keep going on like this. I've had to live years and years with this sadness, and it's continued to drown me. So but yeah, both of them fighting for Hinako and fighting over her, which is so interesting, to the point that when Shiori was occupied by like some paperwork about her transfer, Miko used that opportunity to snatch her up. It's like, cool, if I didn't do that, there's a good chance she probably would have tried to walk home with you too. So it's like, nah, I had to nip that in the bud. But there's a whole bunch of people around celebrating, and it's like, oh, why are a lot of people here? It's because a summer festival is coming up. And we know her family died in the summer, but we don't know if it was like directly like we see like a flashback of her with her family going like during the summer festival, but we don't know if it was during the summer festival they actually died, or it was definitely in summer. We just don't know when exactly. But was also like triggering for her, not only the time frame, but just like the setting of all these families around. That's just like twisting the knife deeper and deeper. It's like she hates summer. She wants summer to be over with. She dreads it when it comes up and she has to live throughout it, but she dreads it when it's approaching as well. The only solace she gets is knowing when it's close to an end, but also just, the sadness of knowing it's just going to be around the corner the next time I blink my eyes. And so Miko's like, oh yeah, we could go to the summer festival together, because it seems like she's probably avoided going to any summer festivals and probably just stayed to herself ever since her family died. And Miko's just like, right, I just want to, we could go together this year. And she's like, yeah, sorry about that, but I don't want to. But it's like, and she feels bad because she knows how much it means to Miko. She sees what Miko's trying to do, she knows your pain and knows like what this time of year means to you and wants you to be out and about and not just alone. But she can't bring herself to be around people, around all this stuff about people being happy with their families, and it's just like it eats away at you, and it just sinks her deeper and deeper into her sorrows. And I love because it's like this time of joy, as she said, it's a very stifling time for her. And so we see her just kind of laying on her bed and then just floating in the water. And a hand reaches out, and then at her door, it's Shiori dragging her out to the festival. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go because, Miko asked me to do that too, and I'm not going to. So sorry, I don't do well with crowds. But Shiori is like, I'm not taking no for an answer. It's like, I told you I'm going to eat you, right? Well, the fact of the matter is, to be healthy means you also need to have a healthy state of mind. So I want you to be healthy all around. So once again, I'm going to make you happy. I'm going to build up your life. I'm going to make sure you're good and enjoy yourself and have fun, because that's the only way I can ensure that you're going to be delicious. Because it's like, if I don't, then you will be putting off me eating you forever, and that triggers something in Hinako where she kind of has to lament now and give in, because now it's like, well, if I don't placate her and give her what she wants, if I don't get better or at least appear healthier in so many regards, she's not going to eat me. So if I want death like I'm begging for and wishing for, then I have to go along with the thing I hate that's going to chip away at me more. But she's also going to have to deal with the duality of, I've got to put up a front so that Shiori doesn't know, so that I can keep up this front, like, okay, like, and at least pretend like I'm getting better even if I'm not, just to placate her so I can get what I want. And also, Miko is definitely going to find out about, oh, you went with Shiori? That's super messed up. I'm like your bestest best friend, and this person who just transferred here, all of a sudden you're doing all this stuff with her. The jealousy is going to run wild, because I think even Shiori's jealous of no. I'm not worried about Miko. I even love that scene where she had brought up the whole Miko not being tasty, and then even Miko and talking to the teacher and thinking to herself, I don't know why. It's not like I've asked anyone out, but I suddenly got the feeling like I just got rejected. So that's definitely going to be interesting to see how that, like I said, the continuous tug and pull from both Miko and Shiori. And there's a detail I meant to bring up earlier because I noticed it this episode. I think it's interesting that, and maybe it's my imagination, but it looks pretty obvious to me that Hinako is a paler skin tone than everyone else. They're not like the tannest skin tones, but it's in comparison, her skin, I really noticed it. And when Shiori grabbed her hand, I was comparing her hand tones. I'm like, wow, Shiori looks like way darker compared to her. And even Miko's the same way. And even looking at some of the background characters are fit in that same mode too. I'm like, interesting. And I think that might play into just the dourness of her drowning in her sorrows. I'm sure you could probably connect it to her literally I was saying drowning in her sorrows metaphorically, but obviously how that's always metaphorically represented by her literally drowning in water, but it's not literal, it just appears literal. That there's a correlation there. She also doesn't take the best care of herself because she doesn't want to, because she doesn't, so it's just an interesting detail that I'm like, maybe I am crazy, but like I said, it feels like she's distinctly paler than every other character, and I think that's, like I said, purely by design of just kind of, and maybe there might be a little more flush to her skin as the season progresses, as the story progresses, because she starts to come someone who's basically, in all intents and purposes, kind of a walking corpse, is going to come to life for the first time in forever, maybe, over the course of this. We'll ultimately have to wait to see how this story progresses and how Hinako handles that going forward, of, like I said, whether she really does come to life, or at the very least pretends to come to life just to placate Shiori. But how long can she keep that up? Because I think Shiori clearly sees through her BS, her trying to BS her way through this, not saying what's really there and what she's really feeling, and trying to meet her in, but Shiori won't give her in unless they take the route she wants to. And that's, I'm gonna slow roll this until you get to the point that I believe you to be your most delicious. So it's definitely going to be interesting to continue this series and see where everything ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.